In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a MongoDB Atlas cluster and how to make the connection using MongoDB Campus. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to find the MongoDB Atlas website. You can simply go to Google and search the term MongoDB Atlas. And then the first link, just ignore the advertisements. The first link, Atlas-MongoDB, is the website we want to use. You can go into the website, and right over here, it shows you a brief introduction on MongoDB Atlas, which is a cloud service that provides you a cluster of MongoDB server. So you can think it as a remote MongoDB server that you can make a connection later. And you don't need to install the MongoDB server on your own computer. And the only thing you need is a MongoDB client, which we're going to use MongoDB Campus. So then the next thing we need to do is we need to sign in to our own account. If you do not have an account, you can simply sign up. And if you do have it, you can simply log in here. Okay. And let's wait. Okay, great. So after we log in, and you will see, if it's the first time you log in here, you basically will see nothing. It's an empty page, and you don't have any MongoDB cluster. And you can simply create a cluster. Or probably if you are the new user, it's gonna direct you automatically to the cluster creation page. So anyway, if you are seeing something like what I'm seeing here called create a cluster, you can click the green button called build a cluster to build our first cluster. So click the link, it's gonna show you the different pricing plan. We can use a free one, so we just use the first one called starter cluster. There is a small button called create a cluster. You can click that, and it's gonna show you different options. So basically, we don't need to worry about all the settings. We can keep everything as a default since we only use it for practice purpose. At the end, it will ask you for the cluster name. It gives you the default name cluster 0. We can just use the default cluster 0, and it doesn't matter. So there will be 8. And if everything looks good to you, you can click the button at the bottom called create a cluster. So after that, you will see a cloud sandbox, and your cluster is being created. And we need to wait a couple of minutes, and it's gonna create a new cluster for you. Okay, now my cluster looks good, and you can see the information for your cluster. Now basically it's nothing and nobody connected to the cluster, and there's no operation, and it's no data, is nothing on the cluster. But you can see the information in the sandbox. You can see your name of the cluster called cluster 0, and you can see a small green dot. It means the cluster is running without an issue. So then our next thing is to make the connection to the cluster. So inside the sandbox, you can see the buttons. The first button called connect, and that is the way we can make the connection to the cluster. So you can simply click the button, and it can pump up a window and showing you that connect to cluster 0. And if it's the first time you made the connection, and you will see 2 things. The first thing called whitelist connection IP address. It means that you need to tell the cluster that who can make the connection using the IP address. So if you don't say anything, and the cluster will block all the connections, which means nobody can make the connection to the cluster. So we need to add our IP address to the whitelist and make sure we can make the connection using our current IP address. So what you can do is you can simply click the green button, add your current IP address. You click it, it shows you the IP address. You can click add IP address, and that's it. So you can later make the changes. So I'm gonna show you later after we build the connections. So that's the first step. And the second step, we will need to create a MongoDB user. So that means a database user, which is different from the user you use to log into this MongoDB Atlas website. So this one is like a root user we have on MySQL or any other database. So here you need to set a username and password. Just to make sure you remember it. And that the set of credential only be used to build the connection into your MongoDB cluster. So I will set a root user. I just call it root. The password, I just call it root. Okay, so you can see the password, username. I just want to do this. That will be 8. And it tells you that the first user will be ls admin, so which means like the root user or the supervisor for the whole project. And this particular user can do everything on your cluster. So once this one looks good, and we can go to the next step, choose a connection method. So let's just click it, go to the next step. So I think, oh, I haven't created. I'm sorry. So I set my credential and click create MongoDB user, and then it's good. Okay. Choose a connection method. And here it provides you 3 connection methods. You can connect through a MongoDB shell using the MongoDB command, or you can connect using our own application. And for example, like Python, we can use MongoDB API to build the connection, or we can use a MongoDB client called MongoDB Campus to build the connection. So the last one is the one we're gonna use. Basically, it's a user-friendly MongoDB GUI interface for us to make operations on our MongoDB server and database. So we can choose a third one that is our connection method. So click it, and then you have 2 options. Okay. If you don't have a MongoDB Campus installed, again, if it's your first time, then you don't. So you can simply select the first one and download your MongoDB Campus. So make sure before you download it, make sure select the correct operating system. So you can click this drop-down menu and choose the operating system you're using. For most of you, I think you're using Windows. If that's the case, you can do Windows 64-bit and the Windows 7 Plus. I assume you're using Windows 7 or 10, 7 or 8 or 10. So you can choose this one. If you're using Mac, and you can choose the first one, the Mac OS system, 64-bit and the 10.10 Plus. So that will be 8. So I'm using Windows, I'm gonna do that. And after that, you can click the download button to download the campus. And then that will be 8. So if it's not your first time, you already have the campus downloaded and installed on your local computer, you can click the second button called I have MongoDB Campus. So click that. And then choose what kind of version you have. We are doing the latest one, so we can just keep it default to 1.12 for later. So that's this. And then what we need to do is right over here, the second step. It tells you that you need to copy the connection string and then open the MongoDB Campus. So you simply click the copy button, and it can copy the string, which includes all your connection information. That's a thing you can use in your MongoDB Campus. Okay, so now I am in my MongoDB Campus community, and we can, if you open that, it should automatically show you this new connection page. And just one thing you need to do, paste your connection string here. So that is the one we copied. So I'm pasting it here. And one more thing you need to do, you can see a string provides you the information that we would like to connect to MongoDB using the user called root and to this particular cluster. And one more thing to change is the password part. So the password and the two brackets, that's the thing you need to delete. So make sure you delete the word and the two brackets. And then you put your password here. So my password for the root user is the same as the username. So my password is root. And you replace it with your password, looks good. So let's try the connect. I hope it's gonna work. So let's wait, and then good. So after that, you will see a list of account database. So because we haven't do anything, so you can only see the admin and configuration and a account local database with some collections here. So that is information you can see. And on the sidebar, you can also see your the database list, and you can expand it and to see what collection you have for each database. And that is the information you can get from this MongoDB campus.